Samsung just had their Unpacked event where they announced the Galaxy S22, the S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra. There are a lot of small new things with the phones, but here are the 5 biggest things that are actually worth noting. Number 1 is while the S22 and the S22 Plus look nearly identical to last year's versions, they come with an all-new camera system. The main camera has been upgraded from a 12 megapixel sensor up to a 50 megapixel sensor, so you can now shoot video in 8K if you wanted to, but more importantly, the sensor itself is now 27% larger, meaning it should be able to pull in much more light than before, which in combination with the AI stuff that Samsung is doing with the new chipsets, should improve the quality of the photos and videos that you take at night. But the second thing worth noting, unfortunately, is not an upgrade, but a downgrade, at least on paper, and that's the batteries on the S22 and the S22 Plus are smaller than they were in their predecessors. The S22 is down to just 3,700 mAh compared to the S21's 4,000, while the S22 Plus is down to 4,500 mAh compared to last year's S21 Plus's 4,800. Now look, the entire S22 lineup comes with new 4nm chipsets, which in theory should make these new phones much more efficient. But with a 300 mAh capacity drop across both of those phones, I can't help but to think that these phones are gonna take a hit in battery life. We'll do the battery test to find out for sure. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm skeptical. Moving on, the third thing to note is the Galaxy S22 Ultra is basically the new Galaxy Note, with the phone getting the same squared off design that picks right up where the Galaxy Note 20 left off a few years ago, and of course, to truly be considered a new Note, it's gotta have an S Pen. So for anybody who's been waiting for a new Galaxy Note phone, well, this is basically it. The good news is, unlike the other two, the S22 Ultra didn't get a battery downgrade at all. It's still a massive 5,000 mAh, and that's despite fitting an entire S Pen in there. So I really don't know what went wrong with the other two models. I mean, if they could fit an S Pen in the Ultra and keep the battery size, you would think they would have been able to do the same on the S22 and the S22 Plus, but hey, at least they did so with the Ultra, which combined with the new LPTO display on the Ultra that can vary its refresh rate from 120Hz all the way down to 1Hz, the S22 Ultra might just challenge the iPhone 13 Pro Max for that top spot on our battery test rankings. Now, even though the cameras look drastically different on the Ultra compared to last year's, with Samsung dropping the wraparound housing design on the S21 Ultra in favor of these individual cutouts on the S22 Ultra, the camera system itself is actually mostly the same in terms of hardware outside of better optical image stabilization. Now, that's not to say that's a bad thing. The S21 Ultra still has one of the best camera systems on the market, and with all the new AI stuff that Samsung is doing with the new chipsets, Samsung is really hyping up how well this phone is gonna do in low light. I'm super excited to try it out. Low light video was basically the only real weak point on the S21 Ultra's camera system, so if the S22 Ultra lives up to the hype, it could just be camera phone of the year. The fourth thing to note is a pretty big one in that Samsung will support the entire S22 lineup with 4 years of Android OS upgrades. So with the phones running on Android 12 right now, it means that these phones will eventually get updated all the way up to Android 16, plus a 5th year of security patches. This is more than even Google is doing with their Pixel phones, so it's a huge step in the right direction, and for anybody who's been concerned with the longevity of software support on their new expensive phones, well, this should make you feel a lot better. Finally, the fifth thing worth noting has to do with pricing. The standard S22 starts at $800 just like last year, the S22 Plus comes in at $1,000, while the S22 Ultra starts at $1,200. Although this base S22 Ultra only comes with 8GB of RAM. That's 4GB less than last year's, with only the pricier models with 256GB or more of storage getting the full 12GB of RAM. I don't know how much that'll actually affect the day-to-day usage. We'll probably do a speed test to find out for sure, but for now, all you need to know is pre-orders are open with availability of these phones starting on February 25th.